I force a rape or incest victim to carry a pregnancy to term.
Texas will work tirelessly to make sure that we eliminate all rapists from the streets of Texas.
The reality, Abbott has not required the legislature to take up any rape prevention legislation.
That was Texas Governor Greg Abbott, avoiding a voter's direct question about rape victims' abortion rights. And Abbott has a good reason to dodge that question. Texas leads the nation in cases of rape, while clamping down on women's ability to get abortions. So much for eliminating rape. Abbott and the Republicans are facing a historic blowback from voters over their attempts to strip away abortion rights nationwide. In recent days, Abbott has even softened his own position. He now says that rape victims can take Plan B emergency contraception. What he doesn't mention is how hard Plan B is to find in the state of Texas. And the bad news keeps coming for Abbott, who's also locked in a closer-than-expected re-election fight against his longtime foe, Beto O'Rourke. Across the country, polling indicates that voters are enraged with the GOP war on abortion rights. And that's no different in Texas, where a supermajority of voters support increasing the availability of abortion. Almost 80% of Texas voters say abortion should be legal in cases of rape and incest, including over a third of Republicans. Those voters aren't happy, and recent races in Alaska and New York show that voters are taking that anger with them to the polls. And Greg Abbott isn't safe just because he's a conservative star. His own approval rating has been plummeting. Right now, Abbott's approval sits at just 43%. That's down over a dozen points from just 2 years ago. And that's a big opportunity for Beto O'Rourke, who's building a bipartisan coalition of single-issue abortion voters. Yeah, that's right. In Texas, Democrats are making abortion a winning campaign issue. 2022, man. Beto O'Rourke has been using TikTok to amplify the stories of women around Texas. These emotional stories serve as backdrops for Beto's powerful campaign speeches that have made national headlines, while also setting off alarms at Republican headquarters in Washington. Take a look.
My water broke at 18 weeks and 6 days. My due date was October 5th, and this happened on May 10th. The odds of my baby's survival making it to October 5th were nearly 0%. That night, my husband and I mourned over the death of our baby girl, Theodora. Everybody knew my baby was going to die, and yet they made me go home, get sick, and suffer for 4 days.
O'Rourke is doing something few Democrats do, tossing aside the consultants and actually listening to activists on the ground. These organizers have been telling Democrats for years that abortion is a critical issue, but you wouldn't know that from the silence of many top Democrats. O'Rourke is raising his voice, and voters are listening. Here's O'Rourke doing some pro-level cult deprogramming just a couple of weeks ago.
On some other stuff that you said, I can kind of back.
There's some common ground somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So glad you came over to say hello. And regardless of who we vote for, I'm here to serve you and do better for you. Thank you. Thanks again.
You can understand why Republicans are pouring a mountain of outside cash into the Texas governor's race, and why it still may not be enough to save Greg Abbott. That's because what's bringing down Republicans isn't some Democrat-constructed trap. In overstepping on abortion, Republicans have told on themselves, and they can't unring that bell. And according to Vox, the GOP's attacks on abortion have driven a historic wave of voter registration nationwide. In Texas, young women and young men are registering to vote at levels not seen in years, and they're citing the Supreme Court's rollback of abortion rights as one of their main reasons. If reproductive rights is the issue for Texas voters, you don't want to be Greg Abbott right now. Republicans are in disarray, and that's true even in their red state fortresses. Their only hope of holding control in November is to distract the national conversation away from abortion rights. Letting them get away with it would be a catastrophic mistake, not only for Democrats, but for democracy. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and consider subscribing. And leave a comment below so you can tell me what you think I should cover next.